For joining with me. We are in a Course in Miracles workbook for students, part 2 of the workbook. We are on section 8 of part 2, What is the Real World? And this is lesson 291. This is a day of stillness and of peace. Christ's vision looks through me today. His sight shows me all things forgiven and at peace, and offers this same vision to the world. And I accept this vision in its name both for myself and for the world as well. What loveliness we look upon today, what holiness we see surrounding us, and it is given us to recognize it is a holiness in which we share. It is the holiness of God Himself. This day my mind is quiet to receive the thoughts you offer me, and I accept what comes from you instead of from myself. I do not know the way to you, but you are wholly certain. Father, guide your Son along the quiet path that leads to you. Let my forgiveness be complete, and let the memory of you return to me. Now I will read the commentary by Alan Watson and Robert Perry. Please follow the practice instructions. See complete instructions on page 135 if you need to revisit them. It's been a while. But here's a short summary. Read the commentary paragraph slowly and personally. Pray the prayer perhaps several times. Morning and evening, repeat the idea and then spend time, at least 15 minutes, in open mind meditation. And then hourly, repeat the idea and spend a quiet moment in meditation. And then repeat the idea often within each hour. Repeat the idea whenever upset to restore peace. And read the What Is section, What Is the Real World, slowly and thoughtfully once during each day over the next 10 lessons. Commentary by Alan Watson. I write my comments on this lesson at the end of the day so that it is waiting for you in your morning email. My day today seemed to be anything but a day of stillness and peace, more like a day of staggering pace. I was rushing about, meeting my body's needs, stocking up on groceries I'd let run down to nothing, buying vitamins, razor blades, and so on. In the back of my mind was a booklet waiting its finishing touches and already behind schedule, a flyer for an upcoming workshop, phone calls to make, a stack of correspondence school papers to read and respond to. I had lunch at 3:45 and supper at 8:15. My details are different from yours, but I'm sure a lot of your days are similar in tone, if not content. We all have the demands of time and circumstance upon us. How do we find inner peace in the midst of it? This lesson speaks of Christ's vision, which looks through me today. His sight shows me all things forgiven and at peace, and offers this same vision to the world. The peace being spoken of here is the peace that comes from a different perspective, an inner peace. Elsewhere, the Course acknowledges that when we live in this world, we are involved in busy doing. It isn't that the busy doing ceases, it's that our mind can be at peace in the midst of busy doing, a quiet center from which we operate. I was not doing so well at maintaining that quiet center today, or rather at remembering it was there and making use of it. I was operating more on the surface of my mind. As a result, I felt a little frantic. This lesson calls me back to home base. The vision Christ offers me is one of loveliness and holiness. It is the sight of a forgiven world whose forgiveness includes my own. It is the peace of knowing that although I may forget the toilet paper or fail to write the needed letter, myself is unchanged. God is my Father, and I share the holiness of God Himself. In my hyperactivity today, there was a certain sense that somehow my salvation depended on remembering everything I had to buy or finishing all the tasks I hoped to accomplish. What a relief to know I was wrong. Even in my study of the Course sometimes, an anxiety creeps in, thinking I have to understand everything perfectly in order to find my way home. Instead, as I read this lesson, I can relax. I do not know the way to you, but you are wholly certain. Father, guide your Son along the quiet path that leads to you. Let my forgiveness be complete, and let the memory of you return to me. And this is why I do the lessons at lunch for the day before, because it just returns me to sanity in the busyness of my day. Now, if you'd like to close your eyes and join me in the meditation, this is a day of stillness and of peace. This day my mind is quiet to receive the thoughts you offer me, and I accept what comes from you instead of from myself. I do not know the way to you, but you are wholly certain. Father, guide your Son along the quiet path that leads to you. Let my forgiveness be complete, and let the memory of you return to me. This is a day of stillness and of peace. Thank you so much for joining with me in the meditation. And now we will read paragraph 1, sentences 1 and 2 of What is the Real World, and then I will read Alan Watson's commentary. Please read this section in its entirety today or listen to my YouTube video. The real world is a symbol like the rest of what perception offers. Yet it stands for what is opposite to what you made. The Course's discussion of the term real world is somewhat paradoxical. We've read its statement earlier in the workbook that there is no world. How then can there be a real world? It even admits there is a contradiction in the term, and here we are told in the opening statement on the topic, the real world is a symbol. A symbol is not the thing it represents, it only stands for something else, as the word tree stands for the object we call by that name. The real world is only a symbol, like the rest of what perception offers. The word tree is not a tree. Likewise, the real world is not the real thing. Is not the thing it represents or stands for. It only symbolizes it. What does the real world symbolize or stand for? Yet it stands for what is opposite to what you made. We made separation. The real world symbolizes unity, but is not itself that unity. We made fear. The real world symbolizes love, but it is not itself that love. We made error. The real world symbolizes truth, but is not itself that truth. The world is nothing but a symbol of a thought. It can symbolize the thought of fear, or it can symbolize the thought of love. It can, in our perception, consist of witnesses to fear or witnesses to love. The world itself is not the reality of anything. It merely stands for something that exists in the mind as all perception does. It is the outside picture of an inward condition. What changes in the transformation effected by the Holy Spirit is not the world itself, but how we see it, what it symbolizes for us. This is why the message of the Course to us is this: seek not to change the world, but choose to change your mind about the world. The real world that we seek, and which is the goal of the Course for us, is not then a changed world, but a changed perception of the world. Thank you so much for joining with me in lesson 291. This is a day of stillness and of peace.